All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to paint their door a vibrant shade of blue. Others have the need to decorate their bathroom with fish, anchors, and other nautical items. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
Hello and welcome to Love Samantha Lee, More Than Just Pretty podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Lee. You can call me Sam because you family. And here we explore love, life, spirituality, and relationships through the lens of real beauty. The kind that begins the moment you decide to be unapologetically yourself. Join us as we dive into heartfelt discussions that challenge, inspire, and connect. Are you ready to embrace your true self? Let's begin. All right, guys. Well, I came on here and I really didn't know what I was going to talk about. If I'm being honest, I was praying. I was like, God, okay, where do you want me to go with this? What do I say in these next, 15 to 20 minutes that you want someone to hear? And I struggled with understanding what exactly God wanted me to do. And as I began to talk and talk to myself, I'm not crazy. Sometimes I have, a little bit of a dialogue with me. I started to realize that there was one thing that he wanted me to touch on. I started spiritually feeling, okay, this is the direction. This is where he wants me to go. And so I'm going to go with it. So guys, earlier this week, if I'm being honest with you, it's been a tough week. A lot of it was just like outside circumstances. And then my head started to spin and I started thinking about the things that I don't have, the places I'm not, just certain desires I have that haven't come to fruition yet. And I was struggling. If I'm being honest, I was struggling. I was like, I think sometimes when our minds start, like when we start, certain things happen, like one thing after another, it's like, oh my God, woe is me. And then you start focusing on all the things that you don't have, everywhere you're not, where you thought you would be. And I was struggling. And I reached out to the people that I'm closest to me because I've learned in those spaces to not isolate. I've learned to be intentional about reaching out to people that I can trust. And so there's certain people in my life that I'll say, hey, listen, pray for me. I'm kind of going through this and I just need you to just pray with me, just speak life into me because I understand, y'all, spiritual transfer is real. A lot of us, the enemy, what he does in those moments when we start spinning and we feel like, oh my gosh, like this is too much, or you're really sad, or you're thinking about your circumstances and they feel so overwhelming, you isolate. You just decide to like, okay, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm just going to sit and just, look at my phone and scroll on Instagram or scroll on social media or look at this YouTube or whatever. And that doesn't help us. What helps us is feeding our spirit, being intentional to do so. And that's the one thing when you're in these moments that your body does not want to do. It's like your body's like, no, I don't want you to pray. No, I don't want you to be thankful. No, I don't want you to be happy. No, I don't even want you to laugh at a joke that you would always laugh at because you're in a mood, you're in a space, and I want you to stay in that space. And the best way to combat that space, what I've learned from the other side, is to be intentional about connecting with other people, getting somebody to speak into your spirit. If you've got a husband or you've got a wife that can speak into your spirit, that can pray over you, you would be surprised how that lightens your energy. You would be surprised on how it opens up your perspective. And so that's what happened. I reached out to my one or two people in my life that I consider my prayer warriors. I say, hey, listen, pray for me. I got a group of women called Power Up that I reached out to, said, hey, just pray for your girl. I'm just kind of in the space. I didn't want to dump on them and talk about I'm going through this, I'm going through that. I just wanted them to pray. And immediately, y'all, I'm telling you, immediately, as soon as I started getting started having those conversations, one of the young ladies called me, we spoke, and I just kind of got it off me. I just started speaking, and she was able to speak life. And when I say speak life, she started saying, no, God's going to work it out. It's going to be okay. God is with you. You remember the last time that God saw you through this last thing. And you remember the last time when you felt this way that God made a way and you didn't see it coming. You remember the last time when all these different things started happening one after the other. You know that God God is going to come through. He's always come through for you, Sam. And you're just on the edge and breakthrough is near. And I just needed that. It was just like, y'all, I could almost cry right now just thinking about that moment. Like, I needed somebody to speak life into me. And I thought it was really interesting how the one thing that I needed was the one thing I didn't want to do. And I don't know who's listening to this, but I think a lot of times in our world, it's very easy to put on a show and make the world believe like, oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. I'm living my best life and everything's amazing and blah, 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 blah. And like deep down inside, we struggling with some things. Deep down inside, we really don't trust people enough to really share with them what's really going on. Or we feel like we have to be strong. We have to hold it in. We have to put on this bravado and act like everything's okay. But I hope and I pray that if you're not already in relationship with somebody that you can just be real with, somebody that can speak life into you, I want to push you today. If you're listening to me and you're in that moment and you're at the bottom, or you feel like you're at the bottom of a pit, I want you to reach out to somebody that you feel like can speak life into you, that you can trust in a vulnerable space, so that on the other side, you could be like, okay, I can laugh, I can breathe again. This person can kind of, I don't know, I look at it like CPR, giving your spirit some CPR. When sometimes you might have those moments where you don't have enough air and you're struggling. I hope you have somebody that gives you CPR. Well, in the moment of somebody giving me CPR, somebody sent me a video on deception and overcoming deception. I thought it was really interesting because it was somebody else's podcast that I admire, and I hope and I aspire to get to that place one day. But I was watching the podcast, and it was a young lady. It was Megan Ashley's podcast, and she was talking about deception. And she brought up a movie called The Truman Show, which I've never seen, but I guess it stars Jim Carrey. And she's talking about how in this movie, Jim Carrey's character basically was like chosen to be a part of some of the first reality shows. And this is before reality shows were even a thing, before social media was even a thing. And he, gets to be chosen to be a part of this first reality show. And what ends up happening is everybody in his life is literally like a paid actor. He doesn't know it. His wife, his mom, his dad, his employer, I'm assuming, everybody is a paid actor and he just doesn't know. And there's obviously a director, there's a script, there's everything going on. In this movie, it's him realizing that he's actually a part of a scripted series, that he's a star of a show. And as he starts to understand that he's just a part of a bigger plot, and that, things are, just happening because they're being scripted for an audience that's watching him live his life. As soon as he gets closer to those realizations that, wait, hold on, is what's going on? What's really happening? He's starting to question his reality. People around him start saying, oh, no, you crazy, you wildin', no, like trying to get him to question his reality because he's falling out of line, because he's no longer just going along with the script that he's given. He's starting his mind is starting to awaken. His eyes are starting to open. And they start questioning him. Oh, you starting to sound like this, or you starting to sound like that, or whatever. Questioning his reality, questioning his new thoughts, trying to get him to kind of get off the thinking that maybe something else is going on. And it ends with, him having this control battle with the person who has scripted the series. And this guy starts sending storms and all different kinds of stuff to get him back in line, to get him back in character, and in following the script that was written for his life. And he just keeps holding on no matter what happens in the storm. As a storm, he ups the ante. The more that this guy doesn't submit to the script, that he ups the storm and makes the storm worse and makes the storm worse, to the point that it feels like his life is in danger. And it probably is. And then at some point, they realize that he's not going to give up, that he's been awakened, he's seen too much, he knows too much, and he's not going to give up no matter how bad the storm gets. And then the storm stops. And he exits that reality show for the last time. He leaves the show and goes into what they call the unknown, which is the real world. And I thought it was such a deep message that we all are the star of our own reality shows. And a lot of times we think we have way more control over our circumstances and our outcomes than we really do.
Are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? If you're a woman, you're not alone. With over 1,000 hormone disruptors in our environment, it's no wonder things can feel out of balance. On top of that, natural changes like PMS, menopause, and other life stages can leave you feeling tired, irritable, and trapped in a constant battle with your body. But here's the good news. You don't have to suffer through it. Hormone Harmony by Happy Mammoth is here to help. This herbal formula fine-tunes your hormones, balancing estrogen, testosterone, and even stress hormones like cortisol, which can contribute to weight gain, racing thoughts, poor sleep, and more. With over 40,000 five-star reviews and a bottle selling every 24 seconds, the results speak for themselves. Ready to feel like yourself again? For a limited time, get 15% off your first order at happymammoth.com using code NEXTCHAPTER at checkout. Visit happymammoth.com today and get your old self back naturally.
Owning a boat comes with a number of perks, like being able to fling your favorite fishing rod around. And here's another perk. Geico's boat insurance covers your boat and your belongings. And with specialist support from agents that are as passionate about boating as you are, there's so much value that you'll want to high-five someone. But not while you're holding your fishing rod. That's a prized possession. So hold on tight with both hands and keep it covered through boat insurance. Get more with Geico.
Y'all, I battled with control for a long time. I think a part of what happens when you experience trauma is that you try to control outcomes. That's the symptom. And I think that at times when I feel like life is just completely out of control, I get so anxious and I'm doing everything I think to do to make things happen and make it, do this and do that. And I guess in my own way, manipulate my whatever variables are within my control so much so that I finally get control. And I found myself earlier this week in that place where I was trying so hard to get things happening and occurring the way that I wanted them to, and having a certain sense of security of what I was trying to plan and what I was trying to get done, that I found myself driving myself crazy. Because at the end of the day, control is an illusion. It's an illusion. It's an expensive one too. And we limit ourselves by trying to be too much in control. And I found myself, trying to take on God weight, and I'm not God. And part of the deception of it all is believing that I have more control than I actually do, and allowing that to literally, literally drive me crazy. And what I learned from just that episode and, allowing people to kind of speak into me is that where I really found peace was surrendering to the unknown. Surrendering to God, what I don't have control over, no matter what I do, no matter how I do it, I have absolutely no control over the circumstance. Lord, I want this to happen, but let your will be done. Man, that prayer was so powerful. And it literally released me from the chains that I had literally shackled myself to the wall with. Because I was trying so hard to work it, make it happen, do it this way, do it that way. And I'm like, I'm so not in control of this. I have no control. And once I surrendered, once I stopped trying to make it happen the way I wanted it to happen, once I just allowed, like, okay, God, your will be done. What's best for me? You know better than I do. I had peace. I had peace. And the thoughts that were coming as I was trying to get control was me deceiving myself. And if you're spiritual, the enemy utilizes certain thoughts. He can get into our little thought stream and can give us little thoughts to make us think that what we're trying to do is not going to happen, and you're far away from the mark, or you're not smart enough, or you're not good enough, or this isn't going to you're crazy to think that this will happen, or that will be successful, what you're working on is going to go this way. Whatever, the enemy starts we start believing those thoughts that kind of keep us in a place of trying to stay within control. So if we take it back to the Truman Show, and what was explained from Megan Ashley on that particular podcast, it was once the enemy starts to see you making a little bit of movement and you starting to step out on faith and you starting to try to do the right thing, it's like the enemy he's like, listen, I see you trying to do something different. I'm coming with some energy. I'm going to send some storms. I'm going to send some things your way to get you to question what you're trying to do, to get you to question your movements of faith. I want to shake it up a little bit. So I'm going to send every possible thing for you to question yourself and what you thought you wanted or what you thought you were trying to do in the season, and it's not happening the way you wanted it to happen. It's not going the way you wanted it to go. You saw this thing going a whole different way, but for whatever reason, as you take that step of faith and you're thinking like, okay, God, if this is what you want me to do, why isn't it just happening? Why isn't it easy? Why is this occurring? And it feels like all these different things, like my world is crumbling and this is not how I thought this was going to go. And God is like, I just need you to stand still, and just like Truman in the reality show, holding on as the storms are coming. I just need you to not give up. I just need you to not give up. I just don't need you to give up. If you give up in the midst of the storm, if you give up in the midst of the storm, then the enemy wins. The show, the script, the plot, you just go back into what everybody wants you to do, what they're comfortable in, the roles that you're playing. Like you start playing in that reality show versus your life, the life that you were created to live, not the life that the world is comfortable with you living. I know this is getting deep, and I don't want to get so deep that it's like, whoa, okay, Sam, I don't need you going left and I'm going right. I need you to get back on track. The point is that every time we take a step of faith, anytime we do things and we're being obedient to God and we don't really know exactly what's going to happen from that circumstance, we just feel like, okay, God, you're telling me this, God, you're telling me that, God, you're moving me here. And we make those steps. And in those moments, there's an anointing for that step, right? If it's a job and you take this job and it's a leap of faith and it's happening, you're like, oh, okay, great, it's happening. And then bam, a challenge comes. And then bam, another challenge comes. And then another unforeseen challenge comes. And another one comes, like, wait, God, I'm starting to question whether or not you're in this, because I thought that if I took this step of faith, it would be easier. And I want to encourage somebody that's listening that even though it seems like, okay, God, if this is what you wanted me to do, this would be easy. I want to tell you that it's actually not true at all. That sometimes the hardest steps we have to take, God is going to give you anointing to take that step. He's going to give you anointing to take that step. But the enemy sees that you are taking a step of faith. The enemy don't want you to take that step of faith. The enemy wants you to stay where you were. The enemy wants you to stay in line. He don't want you to grow in certain areas. He don't want you to step into purpose. He doesn't want those things. He wants it to be challenging so you get back in line. I want to encourage somebody on here today. I know it doesn't feel like you're at where you're supposed to be. I know that you feel like you should be so much further along. I know that you said, okay, I was going to take this step and this is all going to come across and it's going to happen this way. It's going to be amazing and it's wonderful. And it's been the absolute opposite. But I want to encourage you like somebody encouraged me. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. The enemy wants you to quit. The enemy wants you to quit. The enemy wants you to give up. The enemy wants you to stop. The enemy wants you to look at everything around you. We look at what happens with, I believe it was Peter. Peter's on the boat and he sees Jesus on the water. Jesus is on the water. He sees him walking on the water. He's like, whoa, hold on. Jesus, if that's you, can let me walk out on this water to you. And Jesus is like, come on, get out the boat then. And he gets on the water and he puts his other foot and other foot. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm on the water too. But as soon, it says in the Bible, as soon as the wind blew, he noticed the wind. He felt the wind. He started to focus more on the wind than what he was actually doing. He started focusing on the things around him that were happening versus what he was doing. I think that that's what happens with us when we take a step of faith and we stepping outside the boat and like, oh, we stepping, we outside the boat. But now we notice that the bills are higher, or we notice that our family isn't close, or we notice that, maybe a relationship separated or divorce occurs, or a family member that was close to you passes away, or something unforeseen happens in your life. As soon as you take that step of faith and you start questioning yourself and you start to sink. You start to sink. And if we take back that passage, Jesus says to Peter, oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt? I believe he said that. Let me not. I believe that that's what he said. I don't want to say that, and that's not what he said. You don't want to misquote the Bible now. But in that, and look, y'all, let me look at this thing. Okay, save me, Lord. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it is Matthew 14, 29 through 31. Says Jesus then reaches out, grabs Peter and says, you have so little faith. Why did you doubt me? Once he noticed the wind, once he noticed the inclement, the weather that was going on around him, that's when he started to sink. And it was in that moment where he felt that wind like, ooh, hold on, I'm on this water. Jesus, I'm believing you and everything like that, but I'm starting to feel this wind and I'm getting a little scared. And we looked at it like, okay, you just starting to sink. But Jesus knew that the motivation, the reason why he started to sink was because he started to doubt. If I'm being honest, that's what I felt as I started to doubt. I've been taking steps of faith in my life, if I'm being honest, doing different things, starting different things in my life, just going for it and being obedient in certain areas where I felt like God was calling me to be obedient. And I'm like, God, like if this is you, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do exactly what you called me to do. And as soon as I did those things, I started experiencing some warfare. And y'all, if I'm being honest, I started to doubt. Started to look at the wind and be like, and I started to sink. And I had a moment where Jesus turns to me through the people that I was able to confide in and love on me and breathe CPR into my spirit and say, well, remember the Red Seas you've already crossed. Remember the God that saved you from this can save you from that. And it was in that moment where I was like, wow, Jesus is saying to me, you of little faith, why did you doubt? Why did you doubt? That's the inner us, y'all. That's the inner us. When we start making moves, when we start walking in purpose, when we start creating, we start, taking risks, when we start whatever that is for you, the enemy is right there. He sees you. You have now been marked. He's like, oh, you trying to do the right thing? You trying to step into purpose? You trying to pursue the right relationship? You trying to do this God's way? Oh, I got you. Oh, I got something for you. There is opposition that's coming. And a lot of us have the expectation that as we're obedient, that means things are going to be easy. The opposite is true. Because as soon as Peter stepped outside of the boat, what happened? Wind blew. The wind blew. The enemy was right there, meeting him right there, saying, listen, yeah, you going to take a step? You trying to go closer to Jesus? I see you taking that step, trying to walk on water. I see that, and I'm going to meet that step with some wind. I'm going to meet that step with some rain. I'm going to meet that step with some inclement weather, with some thunder and some lightning. I'm going to meet your step with some opposition, because the last thing I want you to do is touch purpose. The last thing I want you to do is to take a risk and find the relationship you've always been wanting, the connection you've always dreamed of. The last thing I want you to do is to actually step into the thing, step into your vein, step into the thing that you were created, your purpose. That's the last thing I want for you. The last thing I want for you is to get closer to the God that is the creator of this universe. That's the last thing I want you to do. The last thing. And so the enemy will send distractions. The enemy will send your ex coming and texting your phone and saying this, that, and third. Hey, big head, I miss you. Or the enemy will have a friend that used to only do certain things with, hit your phone saying, hey, girl, you busy on Friday night? What's up? You're trying to do the right thing, but right when you're doing the right thing, the wrong thing, the thing that you know that you're trying to move away from, meets you right there. It's just like when you start a diet. As soon as you say, I'm not going to eat no Chick-fil-A. Come on, Lord. Yes, I know somebody hearing me understand this. As soon as you say, I'm going to go no carb, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, whatever. That's going to be the first thing that somebody offers you on that Monday morning. The office decided to have donuts on the first. It just happens to be on the first day of your diet. Or you say, listen, I'm not going to shop like I'm going to slow down on shopping. I'm going to do this, that, and the third. It's going to be the day that your favorite store has a sale that only comes once a year. And it just happens to be on the day that you've made this decision. Every time we try to do the right thing, the wrong thing is always going to meet us. Opposition is always going to meet us. And in that moment, we have the choice to keep going and not give up, or we have the choice to give up. But what I want anybody that's listening to me, I want you to know, if I have to be the person that's breathing CPR into your faith, is that God is on the other side of your surrender. God is on the other side of the opposition. That even in the Truman Show, even though the rain came, the wind came, he's on the boat, the water's crashing up on the sides of the boat, and he's feeling like, oh goodness, I don't know, I might drown in this storm, but I'm not giving up. I might die right here, but I'm not giving up. I want to encourage somebody that's listening to me right now. Don't you dare give up. I know what it feels like right now. I know you want to give up. I know you're tired. I know you're overwhelmed. I know you're making a step that you never thought you would make, but I want to encourage you in this moment, just like somebody encouraged me. God is on the other side of that breakthrough. God, there's something the enemy doesn't want you to touch. There's purpose that's written on your life. I don't want you to give up. I don't want you to lose hope. In the Bible, it says in Romans 15:13, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. So I want to breathe life into your spirit today. Don't you dare give up. Don't you dare give in. Overcome deception. We are not in control of our lives, but we are in control of our next step. And I don't want you to be discouraged because there's wind and there's rain and there's thunder and there's lightning and you weren't planning for a storm and you asked God before you left the dock, whether you should go, and he told you to go, and you didn't expect to see a storm. You didn't expect turbulent weather. I want you to know that that's par for the course. That a part of coming into your own and coming into purpose is divorcing your comfort zone, divorcing the things that make you feel safe. It requires risk. That's part of the tax. It's part of the task of getting to the next level. It's part of the task of getting to the next dimension is risk. And the enemy is going to make you want to regret that decision. He's going to make you question whether or not this makes sense. That's what he's going to do. And he's going to do it by surrounding you with overwhelming circumstances. I talked about it in my last podcast where Job was faced with 4 different things, hard things, back to back to back. He does it. The enemy tries to wear us out so much that we decide to give up and we decide to give in. That's what he tries to do. But the way to overcome is not doubting, trusting, okay, God's put me here. And if God's put me here, the enemy, all he can do is make me believe it's hopeless. Because the only person, the only thing that can sabotage you is you. You are the only person that can sabotage your future. You are the only person that can stop God's plan for your life. You. And if you allow the enemy to speak certain things into your ear and create and listen to the doubt, like, oh, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not talented enough. It's too late for you. This is just speaking these things into your ear. At that point, he's influencing you to not step into purpose. He's influencing you to get back into the boat. He's influencing you to not touch what you were created to touch. Only you can stop it. Only you, your free will can stop it. Don't give up, family. Don't give in. The doubt that's being infiltrated in your mind is the enemy trying to stop you. The storms, all these things that are happening as you're taking a step of faith, that's from design. That's meant to stop you. It's meant to keep you stagnant. It's meant to have you crawling back to your comfort zone. Don't give up. Don't give in. God is with you, mighty warrior. You're going to get through this. And if you don't give in, and you don't give up, and you keep fighting, you keep swinging, you're going to understand that what God has for you is way beyond anything you could ever conceive. Way beyond anything you could ever dream of. God's got greater. And the only person that can stop it is you. I want to thank you guys for spending your time with us on Love Samantha Lee More Than Just Pretty podcast. It's been an honor and a privilege to share this space with you, family, where we celebrate being unapologetically ourselves. I hope today's episode has encouraged you to embrace your own unique beauty and your own unique journey and embracing the beauty in others. Don't forget to follow us and join our community on social media. Share your journey and insights, and let's continue this conversation. Until next time, remember, real beauty starts with being true to yourself. I love you, family. Talk to you soon.
Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business and sell more with less effort thanks to the Shopify magic, your AI-powered all-star. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/redcircle, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/redcircle now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/redcircle.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to leave up holiday decorations year-round. Others have the need to use their garage as practice space for their new metal band. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.